Good tomorrow, good morning, good afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world today. And welcome to another episode of All Elite Ensemble.
Yeah.
Yes. This is your weekly AEW review show here on the BC WrestlePod Network Conglomeration Syndicate Thingamabob we do pretty much every single day. Except for Thursdays. Except not this week.
Last week or the week before that.
The
I think
next
Thursdays are a thing now.
Yeah, the remainder of June, Thursdays are a thing now. But hello, everyone, and welcome to BC WrestlePod, especially for all of you new here. And your All Elite Ensemble crew is here, or at least 2/3 of us are here, at least, to review the usual, to review this past week of AEW. And this is a special one because we will be reviewing Fighter Fest 2025, not Fire Fest, Fighter Fest. So me and my co-host for the evening, Mr. Dalton Casserole JBL, are here in our best cosplay for fighters.
I got my hair up and I got my fist ready and I got my thing. Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I got like graffiti print on and I got this pink bandana, so we're good to go.
You look spectacular. I'm so excited that you're dressed up like that today.
Appreciate it. I was very proud of being able to pull this from my closet when I don't have a lot of stuff. Tune in next week for Summer Blockbusters to see if I could come up with something Hollywood-esque from my closet.
Well,
but
black tie. If nothing else, we'll get in our tuxes. It'll be great.
I'll probably wear what I wore to graduation that one time, except I'll roll the sleeves up because it's hot as heck right now. It's 108 degrees outside, y'all.
It's like you live in a place that just in generally is either on fire or likes to be hot.
In more ways than one. Anywho, so before we get into Fighter Fest 2025, which is what we are going to be reviewing this evening, a little bit of housekeeping. If this is your first time here at BC WrestlePod, hello, welcome. Thank you for being here. Or, thank you for randomly finding us on the internet, which is a crazy place.
Thank you algorithm for that one.
Exactly. Thank you, algorithmic gods / goddesses / non-binary, because we can never be certain to what gender they are. But anywho, if you had stumbled upon us due to the algorithm or you seeking us out on your own, thank you. We do a lot here at BC WrestlePod. We do live reviews as well as edited videos of said live reviews for all the major feds and the international and smaller independents in the United States. If you want to know what all those are, please go to our social medias at BC WrestlePod and you can find a schedule of all the things that we cover. But if time is a construct and things are crazy, if you cannot commit to yourself to a full-length live stream review or an edited video, then you could still keep up to us via those social medias at BC WrestlePod everywhere, where you can see the out of context clips that pretty much summarize all the big talking points we talk about in an episode, as well as reading through our report cards for all the weekly shows and the pay-per-views to get a glimpse of what we are thinking as far as why we gave the particular show the grade that we did. We also have some merchandise available for you. We have merch for all the review teams, so you can rep your favorite review team by buying merch for that. We also dropped our summertime Hot Boy Summer collection, which is a luchador enjoying himself on the beach, which is
actually
really
fun. Not enjoying himself, right?
Yes. I mean, sure, why not? We're not trying to get demonetized here, but more importantly,
that's another podcast.
That's a whole nother podcast. But finally, just in time for Pride Month, Pride 2025, BC WrestlePod has dropped its, We Grapple with Pride collection, and which is, of course, supporting our lovely LGBTQIA2+ community. Because yes, Two Spirit is also part of that thing now, which is really great. But the most important thing though is that part of the proceeds for every item sold within that collection will be donated to a charitable organization, and that charity organization that we have selected here at BC WrestlePod is Point of Pride, which is a charity organization that provides help and financial assistance for trans health and gender affirming care, and especially in these trying times, we need to take care of our communities, both. Or all marginalized communities, if you will.
Yeah,
so,
all indeed.
So, but that's a whole nother podcast. But without further ado, let's just jump into everything. So, we are here to cover the Wednesday, June 4th edition of AEW Dynamite and Collision in their Fighter Fest
Fight.
spectacular. Um, I had to watch this in parts because 4 hours is a lot.
And my God, and just like the week before, it's been like 4 hour, another 4 hour. This was a lot.
So the funny thing is that next week we're reviewing Summer Blockbuster, which is happening tomorrow, which is also 4 hours. And then, funny enough, Grand Slam Mexico is like its own thing, which isn't as long as like a standard Dynamite or Collision length. But I think because also that Tuesday you're getting the CMLL versus AEW and ROH show that day before Grand Slam Mexico is going to even out to 4 hours just in two separate shows. But more on that towards the end because we got a lot to talk about in this 4 hour part to Fighter Fest.
I do have to ask if we're up to date on current events right now. How is CMLL going to one up Mr. Iguana?
Well, here's again, we'll talk about that in a little bit towards the end of this because we discussed, me and Professor, surprisingly, discussed this yesterday evening during the Money in the Bank review, and we will be reviewing that more in depth with myself, Will, and Macho tomorrow when we review NXT and Worlds Collide. So that's going to be fun.
Awesome.
I'm excited. This is going to be good. But let's get into Fighter Fest. We got 4 hours of AEW programming to talk about in an hour, so let's just get into it because
oh my God, let's do it.
We kick things off. Yeah, we kick things off with hearing from Mr. Will Ospreay in this whole entire thing. Bruv. So essentially, what we end up getting here is just, well, basically what we have been seeing over the last week or two since Double or Nothing. Will Ospreay is playing peacemaker. He's trying to broker the peace between Hangman and Swerve, which is very unsuccessful. And as we talked about last week, Will and Swerve got into an altercation backstage on Collision, and they begin to fight. Will says, they're like, Swerve and him are like brothers. They're going to fight all the time. Will has known Swerve for like 21 years at this point, a very long time.
Right.
And, but since Swerve isn't going to listen to words, there's only one way Swerve is going to understand, and that's for them to fight each other in the ring. So essentially, this is what sets up Swerve versus Will Ospreay round 2 at Summer Blockbuster happening tomorrow evening. And then in the secondary
spectacular match,
I'm so excited.
I cannot wait for that again. There's no way these two can have a bad match, Mikey. I honestly wish it was on the thing tonight, but they had to set it up, obviously.
No, and the poster that they uploaded today to the social medias to promote that match is like, this literally is a cinema, and I cannot wait. It is so good. We could have just ended it right there, but we didn't because surprisingly, we get an interruption from the Crew, Action Andretti and Lio Rush.
Have they actually put the in their name now?
I don't know. That's what officially the internet and AEW programming has been referring to them as, the Crew.
Right, but on the Chiron for the last couple of weeks, it's just been Crew. So I'm surprised. I think there was the this time. So that's just like, okay, either the Chiron and everyone else is getting older, like saying the internets or the Facebooks. But apparently we're going the Crew.
Yeah. Just tells Leo, yo, talk to them. Leo gets on the mic. Both of them have just recently come from Japan, which they were doing some Japan stuff, which was really fun. And Lio Rush has a lot of anger that he needs to get out. So this sets up Will versus Lio Rush later, which I was like, don't know how I feel about the Crew, but Lio Rush versus Will Ospreay, sign me up. I'm interested to see this match.
Yeah. Again, you don't need to sell me on much with this. This is definitely going to be probably a highlight of the night to begin with, unless someone gets horribly injured, which, knock on wood, won't happen. But they're going to be a work rate match for however long they give them, and I'm excited.
Absolutely. So that's what kicked off Fighter Fest with us. So let's talk about our first official match, which was, you know what? I'm not even going to lie. I'm happy that we started off with this one to get it out the way. So this was just a singles match, no championship on the line. Our AEW World Champion Jon Moxley versus Mark Briscoe. Surprisingly, I was very entertained by this match. I thought this was a pretty solid match, and surprisingly enough, I feel like Moxley wasn't phoning it in for this one, which was kind of a nice, refreshing surprise for me. But we all knew the outcome of what it was going to be. Briscoe, love you, but you ain't getting one over on Mox.
Definitely not. And at the same point, Briscoe knows that he can get a good match out of Mox because they actually respect each other. So this was going to be coming down as a decent match. And because the title really wasn't on the line, it made it all the better.
Yeah, I was very entertained and pleasantly surprised of how good it was.
I was enjoying the entrances of the Death Riders this week because it was light outside when they were coming in, so it's not like the bowels of the thing, and also the venue was very like it was very like bingo holly type of like, or like the Hammerstein ballroom. So like there were pillars. It was a music venue. It seemed really fun. It wasn't a stadium, and it made it feel more intense.
No, absolutely not. And again, I really love these smaller venues that AEW is deciding to do for all their events. It is fantastic. Again, John Moxley chokes out Mark Briscoe. Briscoe still cannot get one over on Moxley, but this continues to put Moxley on our television screen as we are anticipating for y'all in Texas against in his match against Hangman.
Exactly. And we had interference as we went along for a little bit. We expected as much anyways, and a lot of stuff back and forth. So, good way to open the night.
Definitely so. Good way to open the night. This hype package was hype. Like, yes.
You
If
get him out
you
of
did not know who
races, and all
Mystico
of a sudden
was,
he can actually like do well. It's surprisingly when he's not, made to be a character he's not really like good at.
so we get this hype package that showcases Mystico and all his high flying action. Which, as somebody who watches CMLL, I was like, this hype package rules. This is a very AEW. You get points for me because you actually did a good job of like within less than a minute, be like, here's why you should be excited about this person coming to Summit Blockbuster. And this is basically the hype package plus the announcement that Mystico will be at Summer Blockbuster tomorrow evening. And we talked about it last week that MJF called him out for a match. MJF is going to be watching Mystico in action tomorrow night at Summer Blockbuster, which is probably going to set up something for Grand Slam Mexico, which is literally in 2 weeks.
Which I would love to see as well. I think those two will work very well together if Mystico is allowed to take the chains off. So this will be fun.
Yes, and especially since it's in Arena Mexico, and since will not be MJF's first time being down there within the last like less than a year too, because lest we forget, he went down there when he was the United States champion, and he battled Templario in a very fun match. But I'm excited that Mystico is coming to AEW, and I'm hoping that Summer Blockbuster will start to flesh out more of our matches for Grand Slam Mexico, because honestly, we have the Tuesday show, all its card, and then we have Fantastica Mania lined up. So AEW now just needs to get on the ball to start telling us what to expect at Grand Slam Mexico, which has me excited.
I still think they got to get through y'all in, though. That's the problem.
Grand Slam Mexico is in 2 weeks.
I
but
know.
I understand.
But they're so focused on y'all in that I don't think they're going to take that. I think it's going to be one of those like smaller pay-per-views where Tony tells you 2 matches, and then the day of there's 6 matches announced.
That's how Grand Slam Australia kind of was too, a little bit, which it's still fine. I'm excited. We're going to have a great time with it.
Yes, we are.
I'm excited for Mystico to see him tomorrow at Summer Blockbuster. This match ruled, but AEW, you have given me the biggest grievance this week with Fyter Fest. This is a 12-minute match. This is the only women's wrestling we had in a 4-hour show. That's not even like 10% of the show.
I need to bring back the JVL corner at this point because you have such an amazing women's roster. You have such built up in other places that there's people bubbling up from ROH. You've got such potential. And with Evolution 2 on the horizon, this is the time to take advantage of what you have. And you're relegating it to get everybody into one big match. Try to fit your storyline into it as well. On a 4-hour show, you have one less than 15-minute match. The women's matches and stories are so much more engaging than anything you've got going, even the aggro Hangman Page stuff in the men's division right now. They're working harder, they're doing better, and all these people online are like complaining about like, oh, if only AEW could train up their women to actually be good online. What show are you watching? They are at the standard, if not setting the standard right now. And I just can't stand the toxicity that's online about this type of stuff, because that's what's driving this away. Is Tony Khan is allegedly enjoying some nose candy and forgetting to actually book the good people on his roster that actually want to be there. So Tony, take your head out of the pile of white powder you got in front of you. Realize half your guys you're booking and pushing on there are not drawing, and stick the women in there who are actually getting people in the seats or getting reactions and actually see what you got there. If you were afraid to do so, you have your competition building an entire pay-per-view around it right now, and you have access to Joshi wrestling. You're leaving so much on the table. And I come back to this. I am not against it. On the record, I am a humongous fan of women's wrestling. I support women's wrestling in all its facets. Do not make women's tag titles right now. You don't need more belts because you don't have the matches to support it. Build the women's stories, give them more segments, then put the belts out. In general, this is terrible.
Yes. Now, as far as the match goes itself, again, biggest gripe is only 12 minutes, but in those 12 minutes, I love these 4 women. Though I will say, Mercedes, that steak looked kind of gross.
Yeah, it was disgusting. And then Tony ate it with her hands afterwards. I was like, damn, someone got well done steak. That means Mercedes is the extremely big heel in this. Well done steak, and probably was ketchup on it. So,
sure. But again, this is a really fun match. We have Timeless Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa versus Julia Hart and Sky Blue. Again, we knew Tony and Mina were going to do the darn thing, and also watching Julia and Sky of how far they've come since the inception and being in this company has been fantastic. And
team, they have such good moves together. Both teams had chemistry. This was fun to watch. I also have to ask, Mikey, would AEW get in trouble because Mercedes Moné was drinking on camera, which you can't do in most commercials with beer? She's drinking wine.
That's very true. I don't know if the rules for certain broadcasting networks and Max are a little bit different than certain other things, but
yeah,
I mean, I'm like, it is what it is.
You've got fans drinking beer on camera, which you can see, but this is someone in storyline doing the performance and doing it. I don't know. Just as a producer, that's a weird line to walk. So,
yeah, but Timeless Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa pull out the victory here.
Yes.
And like you said, Timeless Toni Storm goes for the steak. Steak.
Well, and Excalibur lost his mind with her. She's eating it with her hands the proper way.
Oh, my goodness. Excalibur, you're a weirdo, but I love you. So, again, we are not done with this iteration because when we preview Summer Blockbuster, we are still getting these 4 somewhat within the same universe of each other, which I'm looking forward to discuss towards the tail end of the show. Because right now, though, Will Ospreay talks about, what happened at the beginning of the show, how he's going to be fighting Leo Rush. MJF comes in to kind of interrupt things. And as Will mouths off to MJF, the Hurt Syndicate are the hired muscle for Will, and Will's like, all right, I see how this is. I'm going to let it slide this time, but they ain't going to be around forever, essentially.
It's turning the Hurt Syndicate into basically like the really run roughshod older brothers who their little brothers is mouthing off to everybody else, and they've got to deal with his problems later and fix his problems for him.
Exactly. They're like,
they just keep doing
right.
it.
It's like, we know he's mouthing off. Does he deserve to get popped? Yes, but we ain't going to let you put hands on him either.
No, because only we can pop him, not you.
Exactly. So, again, this is revisiting the feud that they had for the International / United States Championship last year, which is really, really nice to see them come back and revisit this now with the added layer of the Hurt Syndicate being a part of this whole thing now that MJF is a part of their business. So, yes. But let's get into it. Again, we were told this, but then we got the official graphic made. Oh my God, my body is not ready. Yes, I'm excited.
Their bodies aren't ready for this. This is going to be insane.
Give me 30. They're going to give me 30 minutes. This is going to be crazy.
Mikey, I think you won't be able to handle 5 of it, and then they'll be going back again and again and again for 30 straight minutes.
It's going to be so good. Can't wait. So this is, again, where we hear from the Hurt Syndicate, honestly. And again, I kind of previewed it when we talked about the Mystico hype package, but essentially, MJF gets on the mic. He basically calls out Mystico. He's going to be watching Mystico at Summer Blockbuster to see if Mystico is worthy of having a match at Grand Slam Mexico. And I'm like, we know that match is happening, but I'm still happy regardless.
Yeah, but then we had the transition into the next match where we had people on the ramp, like the commander and Jet Speed getting into it with them, and then the LFI getting into it with the Hurt Syndicate. So we're seeing immense amounts of storylines being built, and yet in my heart, I'm sitting there going, did we need the Hurt Syndicate and Max to talk? Could we not have had another women's match? It would have been really good,
It
maybe.
really was. But speaking of transitioning, we transition into this trios match, which is,
Holy cow.
La Facción Ingobernable, LFI, of, all our lovely peeps here. I'm loving their gear every time they come out. It is fantastic. But they are taking on the team of Commander and Jet Speed, which is Kevin Knight and Speedball Bailey. This match ruled.
This was pretty much on top of the night for me overall.
Yes.
Coming in and out of it, I want to see a Roosh versus Bobby Lashley match now, but kicks flying everywhere, dives going every which way, landing on the ramp in really hard ways. The Beast Mortos running wild, Samoan dropping everybody. And honestly, the right folks won in this because needed to. I was really entertained this entire time.
Commander has become such a bright spot for AEW. Since getting the chance to run with the ROH Television Championship, and then now he's being featured alongside Hologram very heavily within the past couple of weeks. And since debuting, Speedball has always been on our television screen almost every single week in some capacity, which is great. And it's nice to see Kevin Knight being plugged back in now that Best of the Super Juniors was over with like a week and a half ago. Same thing with Nick Wayne. Nick, we're going to talk about you a little bit later too. I just need a singles match. I need them to run back the Best of the Super Junior between Kevin and Nick. Those two matches that they had were baller.
They were, and I feel like they could revisit that very easily and would not need to do much with it.
No. So again, this was a high flying, everybody throwing and flying all over the place, which is very great. Essentially, this is like your cruiserweight type-esque match, pretty much. With you got Roosh flying, but you also got Roosh throwing people. He's more, like you said, Samoan dropping everywhere. Like, oh, this was so good. But Commander, Speedball, and Kevin Knight pick up the victory here. Towards the end of this, though, the Hurt Syndicate come out trying to intimidate and attack our baby faces, but because MJF is MJF, they lose the advantage, which would allow Commander, Kevin Knight, and Speedball to get the advantage back and chase them out the ring. Which I was like, interesting.
Again, surprisingly well put together. It seemed like all 6 participants wanted to work. Even Roosh, Roosh looked like he was actually doing some work. So you can't fail with this. And on top of that, they drew you in not just with their moves, but with the fact of their work rate and their ability to turn things around on each other. Again, I can't state enough. If you want to go watch one thing from this 4-hour thing, watch the women's match, then go watch this. It's not that hard.
No. I mean, we'll talk about it at the very end. I will say that the first half was a lot stronger than the second half, but I enjoyed the whole entire 4-hour thing. But I did have to break it up into chunks, which I think made it a little easier to digest for me. And then instead of doing all the way through, because 4 hours is a whole entire pay-per-view length, and that's a lot.
It's middle of the week for us. It's tough in the middle of the week to do that,
especially when we got all the other stuff that we are covering too. But I'm excited because we're going to talk about it at Summer Blockbuster. We are getting Commander and Kevin Knight and Speedball versus the Hurt Syndicate. So I'm excited to talk about that when we preview the card. But first, before we get there, well, there you go. Got the official graphic.
Interesting.
I do love this aspect ratio they're using for these cards for Summer Blockbuster. It's like coming this summer.
Exactly. They need, if all the things to get the reference to movie trailer guy, because there isn't that anymore, they need movie trailer guy to be announcing these matches.
It's for real. That'd be so good. I can't wait. Paragon is tired of the shenanigans that is the Don Callis family, so they come to Daniel Garcia for aid. Daniel's like, yeah, I have a pain, but look at Daniel Garcia. He's like, I'm listening to you, Adam Cole, but I'm staring at that championship that I want back.
We all know that that's on his mind. I also love this fact of as they're all standing in a row, they're all showing off each version of their Paragon shirt. Please buy our shirts. We know we're not as popular. It's just so fun.
I want Daniel Garcia's jacket. Not even gonna lie.
Okay, looking that up right now.
Velvety and everything. It looks good, but we're going to see Paragon and Danny team up to fight the Don Callis family later in the evening.
I'm looking forward to seeing what goes on.
Yeah. So we get to hear from Christian Cage and Nick Wayne in a backstage segment.
Oh this was ridiculous. And like Mother Wayne going along with Christian in that, like it's getting like super not double entendre anymore. It's like even worse. It's like just like not subtext. There's full text now.
I'm like, Christian Cage, we're kind of getting close to like getting wild.
Loving it. Just, gotta happen.
Exactly. But essentially, Christian Cage is like a very disappointed dad still because, you know, Nick Wayne couldn't get the job done at the best of the Super Juniors. And so he feels that Nick Wayne needs to understand what it means to be a champion, which is crazy to say. So Christian Cage tells Nick Wayne he's going to defend his ROH, you know, television championship tonight. And Nick Wayne's like, that's going to be light work. I'm a fighting champion. I got this. Christian's then like, oh no, but it's not going to be a standard match. You're going to defend this thing in a fatal 4-way later this evening. And Nick's like, bring it on. And then that's how that segment ends. I kind of like this cockiness from Nick Wayne. He's just like, okay, Christian Cage, I know what your game is, but bring it on. I'm going to continue to prove you wrong.
It needs to go somewhere. This is the thing I keep coming back about. I can't put my faith in it yet because they've never made it so that I think that they can actually do it.
It's very fair. It also hasn't helped that while he was amazing in the 4 weeks that he was gone at Best of the Super Juniors, we had to stop the story because Nick was busy doing that, and Christian was also off of television because Nick needed to be here for this. So, but we're going to see Nick defend that championship later in the evening. Lots of setup in the first half for what's to come.
Big 4-way too, which is great. This was hysterical.
This is always what I wanted. We've always said that we wanted Hobbs to come out and destroy Max Caster in this Platinum Max like open 5-minute challenge.
I love the crowd is singing along with his horrible taunt now, and I love it.
It's great. But Platinum Max Caster has his open challenge. He calls out anybody in the roster to come out. It is Powerhouse Hobbs. Powerhouse Hobbs crushes him in like 5 seconds. It's great. Nothing more.
There's nothing else to say. It's less than 5 minutes. He squashed him. Didn't even take off his like street clothes. He just took off his shirt. Like this is what we need.
And 5 seconds. This is great.
We need to get the leaderboard up there of how quick each one has done it now, and then Max gets upset about the fact that someone's keeping a leaderboard on him.
That would be amazing. We should do that. Oh my goodness. Ooh!
Oh, so man.
This was the main
what we talked about last week. Like we knew what this was going to be.
Ooh! So this was the main event for the first half of Fyter Fest. This was an AEW fatal 4-way, if you want to call it, for the AEW International Championship. This had Kenneth Omega defending his International Championship against Brody King, Máscara Dorada, and Claudio Castagnoli. Oh my God. He is the Swedish stuff. My God, I knew this match on paper was going to be amazing, but holy crap.
Claudio's entrance where like people were in the way and they weren't getting out of the way of the camera. He was like trying to walk through them.
It's like, I don't want to push y'all. I'm a bad guy, but I also have standards and morals.
Exactly.
He's a very sweetheart. I love him. But I mean, this match.
The person we thought was going to take the pin took the pin, which we knew would happen.
Which made it less sad for me because I already knew. But still, I also feel like he also did a lot of he got a lot of time to shine in this match. I mean, everyone got their moment, but Máscara Dorada really was able to showcase his talent in here, and also very smart on AEW because this also hopefully, Máscara is going to be a part of the whole entire week when AEW comes to Arena Mexico, which makes a lot of sense. But this match was so good. It gave me all. What I love about this match is that all 4 of these men bring something different in terms of their styles of wrestling, and they all got to use that and brutalize each other with it and also pull off some crazy stuff. I need Brody King to be flown around more because it's great.
On top of the fact that all of them know how to work each other and looked like in the best ways, that they were improvising a couple things on the fly, it was just engaging because they played to each other's strengths the entire time and let their moves tell a beautiful story. I did not need much more than this to be able to be happy with it. And of course, Kenny Omega wins to retain his title, which we knew was going to happen.
Yes, that is very true. But this was kind of, but yeah, Kenny Omega retains by pinning Mascara Dorada after the match, which kind of ended the first half and kind of began the second half. Okada comes down. They have a face off and then they finally start brawling. And I was like, there we go. Here we go. This is setting up what we need. We don't get a confirmation until way later in the second half, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I was just like, and there it is. This is the origin of what's to come at Y'all in Texas.
What we have been basically calling for about 4 months now. They haven't announced that they're combining the titles. We all feel that's going to about to happen. So
at this point in the evening, at this point in the evening, we did not know what to expect. But when we get the card, we'll talk about it when we get there. Because right now, though, I want this jacket, Ricochet. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I need this. I am an anime fan. This One Piece jacket be fly. But Ricochet is here at Fyter Fest because he's going to keep an eye on some of these competitors because he's still looking for a faction. It might be the Crew, but who knows?
I mean, it definitely seems like Crew would be it. I love that, like, I think we talked about this last week where he is looking for all these smaller people to be in his crew and like do this. I'm like, no, dude, get him 2 giants. Like he's flanked by these guys and he's so good anyways, but make him the small little Wheatley heel that leads his guys around. It would be nuclear with him. And like he hits them, beats them up, thinks he's a bigger man than them, and by the end you can have them turn on him and do whatever you want. I mean, this would have been perfect for him to audition tag teams to be in his thing. Like he has the Righteous one week, which we won't have now. He could have the Outrunners back him up. Like there's so many freaking ways to do it.
We're gonna talk about them in a little bit because at first I was like, is this appropriation? But I was like, I'll let it slide this week.
I was like, oh, that's tough. That's really right.
We'll talk about it when we get there. But yeah, so Ricochet is going to be keeping his eye on the folks in the second half of Fyter Fest to see. This was fun. I enjoyed this match.
They can't have a bad match. It was really very fun to watch, and they worked each other incredibly well. Will Ospreay actually playing the grounded heavyweight here and letting Lio Rush fly everywhere, but being able to keep up with him agility-wise, really cool. I not a matchup I would have thought of originally, and that would have done really well. But again, Will can't have a bad match with anybody.
That's also very true. And I also feel that Lio is also very understated too, because he's all, despite some of his on and off agains, like he would be in a company and then he wouldn't be, and then he was again, and then he's not. The point is that when he locks in, he is great. His stint in Japan recently has been fantastic to watch. I also love when he brings out his dark Lio Rush aesthetic too, that he's formulated, kind of similar to TJP's Aswang character when they need to bring it out for occasions. Is really, really fun to watch.
It really is.
This was a really fun match. Will wins, but the Crew was not. Yeah, I mean, Will was going to win either way, but the Crew was not happy about it. We started fighting. Will was getting beat up, and then out comes Hangman Redemptive Anger Page. Like Hangman.
It took a little while for him to get out there too, and then his music took a little while. But yes, he was doing crunches in the back and just waiting.
Right. So he comes out to scare off Action Andretti and Lio Rush. And then Hangman checks on Will, and then he just jumps immediately into his promo.
Oh, yeah. You good? Roll out of the way.
Yes, move. So we get this promo where Hangman is continuing to talk about him being on a redemptive story and how he is going to restore the honor of AEW to what it needs to be by taking that AEW World Championship from Jon Moxley at Y'all in Texas. But Mox suddenly, great camera work because Mox suddenly appears out of nowhere.
Yeah, of course.
And so the Death Riders also begin swarming around the ring too, like sharks smelling blood in the water. And I was a little worried of her a little bit because Will's coming out with chairs, but he's also looks like he's limping a little bit. I'm like, oh God, no.
Yeah, no, he's not doing well, but no, we'll leave it there.
So Heyman gets a chair. Will Ospreay has a chair. And surprisingly, Moxley and the Death Riders, despite having the numbers advantage, back off.
Which is telling for a little bit of the story. Like, what's happening with that?
I was like, I'm very curious of what's coming down the pipeline for the remainder of this build. So this is going to be an interesting summer. That's for certain.
Do we see a not surprised, but surprised heel turn?
I mean, who knows at this point? I'm here for all of it. But I will say this, if Hangman does not win at Y'all In, I legit have no other thought of who would be the one to finally do it. And as much as I love Darbs, he's not the right person.
He's not at this point. He's been away too long. He needs to get himself back up there.
Yes, yes, he does. Put him and Brody King and the rest of the Hounds of Hell together. I actually would like that. So we'll see what happens with all of that.
Get him in Ricochet's crew.
Yo, him versus Ricochet would kind of slap though. Not gonna
Yeah.
lie,
Well, he
it
would
would.
literally slap his head.
Bald. We love it. The Don
The
Callis family.
faces on freaking Kyle Fletcher. Like, I think it was
Kyle
described,
is so good. Like,
but I think it was described best by, I think it was Wrestle Talk. If it wasn't, it was Cultaholic. They looked like they were like the top half you would see on some prawn hub thing where it just like he was making those faces the whole time. He was in ecstasy for most of this for some reason.
this is why we love Kyle Fletcher, because he is a ridiculous goofball and we love him so much. But the Don Callis family is looking to expand. I love that Takeshita is like, as soon as Don Callis says, we have a new member, Takeshita is like, oh, really, bitch?
Because he keeps forgetting about Takeshita.
I was like, Takeshita is here, y'all. But we learned that the Alchemist of CMLL, and also I need that shirt, Echi Seto, is the newest member of the Don Callis family, which makes sense because Echi and Don Callis family is going to have a presence at the week of in Arena Mexico, which is super exciting. We will see the Don Callis family and Echi Seto be teaming up later in the evening.
Well,
So again, setups and matches was the way to describe Fyter Fest.
Which this is the collision part, so it makes complete sense. It's just longer than usual. But yes, Kyle, never change. Keep being
we love you. Kyle, you're amazing. Okay.
There's a lot to unpack about this one, unfortunately.
I have lots of feelings about this one. So let me preface this.
So bad.
Listen, as far as everything that has led up to this and what what transpired during this match, I was like, no. But also, because it's me staring at FTR, I'm like, hi boys. Anywho.
They both look like they've both farted or like Stokely did, and they're just not enjoying it.
I know, it's great. But what could have been held off until Grand Slam Mexico, but it is what it is at this point. We're getting FTR versus Atlantis Jr. and the newest United Empire member and New Japan Strong tag team champ with TJP and Templario, also Will's baby daddy. Oh, if y'all haven't watched their CMLL reviews, please go do, because between Will and Adolfo and myself, it is crazy out there. But this is a tag team match that has stemmed from a very racially coded FTR promo from last week.
Mikey.
Yes.
When has FTR in their career not had racially coded promos towards CMLL or other Mexican performers?
That is also very true.
This is like I digress. Par for the course with them on everything. Like, the surprise is not there. It's just the surprise is more at, why is this still being played up that way in the year of our Lord 2025? Like, I'm kind of done.
It's kind of crazy. And here's what sucks, because the match itself was pretty good. I enjoyed it. But again, because of the angle that they were playing there, I was like, y'all are taking me out of this. We didn't need all that. And to no surprise, FTR does pick up the victory here. I'm really hoping, is because this is AEW's house. This is why a lot of the CMLL guys are losing here. I'm really hoping that Tony Khan will allow the CMLL talent plus Arena Mexico and CMLL do not play when they get visitors there, because most of the CMLL folks, men and women, the men and the Amazonas, need to go over. But we'll see what happens with all of that. I also did not like the ending of this match. What happened afterwards? I was like, ew.
No, I felt wrong having watched this. And not in like a way of like, oh, interesting, the storyline's focused, or like this is just like evil heel shtick. No, I felt like this was disrespectful in a lot. And like, I don't have the voice to say to it. I am a white presenting male, at this point, and I'm feel bad.
I will say this. It's really weird that FTR, who we know, tends to be like, well, at least from what we've been presented, let me change it at that, have been allies to all the marginalized communities, especially, the LGBTQIA2 plus community as well. But it's really making me question a lot of things right now. The jury is still out on them, but I will say I really hope that they find, well, I really hope they drop this part of their heel run right now, because I was just like, it's already bad with the CMLL talent. Like, if they're going to continue past Grand Slam Mexico being this way, I fear for all the other talents of color and, POC in general. Like,
Yeah.
our Asian talent, the Latino talent, the African American talent, like the indigenous talent we also have is crazy.
The only thing I can think about this is, Mikey, is that they don't have John Moxley and they don't have Chris Jericho to take on this role, which they've had them do for the past couple of years. And for some reason, Tony Khan, in his giant mound of alleged cocaine, is needs to have somebody be racially disrespectful to luchadors. Oh my god!
And I'm like, MJF is right there, you guys. Like,
got it built in.
That was literally his gimmick when he was the United States champion. Literally, that was his whole thing when he was the United States champion.
I know.
I'm done talking about this. Atlantis Junior and Templario will be a part of that whole the Arena Mexico week. So hopefully they get their licks back, depending on what they decide to do at Grand Slam Mexico, if we're getting them at Grand Slam Mexico. I was so I'm gonna let JBL go first because he has mixed feelings. I do not.
I think I had more mixed feelings as I'm remembering it now. Coming off of what just happened in the ring, it was like still in my mouth. But at the same time, like, this is, I looked at them in true, like, the Executioners and the Bumblebees and, like, thing one, thing two, those that style from the 80s makes complete sense. It's the white guys in masks, not really luchadors, but have that hidden thing. But with the Los Outrunners, it's like, oh, you are trying to co-opt that just a tiny bit.
Just a little bit, but I also feel that because we have seen Outrunners for the last 2 months actually be working with Bandito and all, and him and the whole crew and everything. So I was just like, to me, I did not have an issue with this because this was not, in my eyes, this was not appropriation because they weren't being a caricature. And kind of funny enough, this weirdly fits with their whole aesthetic.
It's homage at this point.
It's an homage to it, and because they were actually teaming with Bandito, who was also playing into it as well, this was great. But
thank you, Bandito, for that far. It was so good.
Bandito, I love you so much. I cannot wait to see you and Hologram go at it during the whole week. It's going to be so good. But we do get a 6-man tag team match of Bandito and Los Outrunners taking on the Don Callis family.
Mikey, if you're going to go with the accent, pronounce it correctly.
Los Outrunners. I can roll my R's. Can you? I'm just kidding.
Los Outrunners.
You fail. I'm just kidding. You're good.
I did not fail rolling my R's.
Rolling the R's.
Roll them everywhere. It's not a double R though, so it's a R. It's not a R.
Are you really telling the Latino man how to roll his R's? Colonizer. I'm just kidding.
I'll show you my tongue. Anyway.
Ooh, don't tempt me with a good time. But no, we get Los Outrunners and Bandito versus the Don Callis family. We knew that Bandito and the Los Outrunners were not going to win, but this was still a really fun match. I really enjoyed this.
I forgot about this shot. Kyle pinning looks like he's literally teabagging one of them. It's just
Fletcher is a meme, and I love him. But this was really, really fun. Of course, this was also it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It also showcased Hechicero. If people were not familiar with the Hechicero from his previous stint here in AEW, from like leading into Forbidden Door season. But this was a fun one. Again, the collision always ends up being where a lot of the fun matches happen.
It really ends up being that way. It's true.
So, again, the Don Callis family will have a presence during Grand Slam Mexico week. So I am excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah. Our girl is finally back. Okay, so let me set this up, right? So Harley Cameron, trooper that she is, literally busted her nose last week in the middle of that whole no DQ tag team match between her teaming with, Miss Anna Jay here. Anna Jay taking on Megan Bay and Penelope. So They were dead. They Megan Bain and all of her Amazon power literally grabs Anna Jay by the hair, drags her out to be beaten in front of the audience, and we get to the return of time. Missed you so much.
Oh, and she hasn't missed a beat there. She had a great like little standoff there. She was getting into it, and, like actually hitting Megan over all the security folks. I hope that she feels good enough now, like back from the injury and back from the baby, that she's ready to put in the time. But I am excited for this. And Team Ty back together. How is Harley going to deal with this?
I'm excited, and we'll talk about Team Ty J, because they will be involved in Summer Blockbuster tomorrow evening. We'll preview that card very shortly.
Yes.
Anthony Bowens, I want more for you.
What are they doing?
I don't know what they're doing, and that's exactly my feelings on this. They don't know what they want to do with Anthony Bowens, but Anthony Bowens has kind of been on a losing streak, guys, and so he wants to prove that he's great. So him and Kyle Fletcher are going to have a match at Summer Blockbuster. This is literally only to set that up.
He should be winning during Pride Month. I'm just saying, but Anthony Bowens, good, really fun, really good energy, but no substance to any of it. It's full on milquetoast, and Daddy Ass can't save you. I'm not saying that Platinum Max was making you better, but both of you have trouble by yourselves. You're not being used correctly. At least Platinum Max, even though he's on a losing streak, is making something out of it. You're not even taking chances. So I don't know why I care about you.
Yeah, the match itself is going to be fun, but again, all flash, no substance at this point.
Completely.
Which really sucks because I like Anthony Bowen so much.
Yeah, he's a great guy and he's a good worker. Just has no charisma behind him that can save him because he's not given anything to work with. He's just pushing with no substance.
Dalton Castle needs to come save this. No, I'm just kidding. Oh God, Dalton and Anthony Bowens would rule. I'm not gonna lie.
He's so good.
Yes. I digress. So we get an awesome fatal 4-way match.
Yeah.
Again, with all the folks that we love to see in these types of things. We got Sammy. We got AR Fox. Like, this is literally like, all right, who do we got on this roster that's going to fly all over the place? All right, all of you in this match now.
Yeah. Poor AR Fox.
I'm like, I want more for AR, but you know what? He gets to be on television every week right now, so I'm not going to complain, but I really hope we get to see him do something crazy. But
paycheck is nice, but do something fun. Come on.
Yeah, but Nick Wayne successfully defends his ROH television championship in a very high-speed fatal 4-way. Christian Cage is still upset that Nick Wayne is not losing anytime Christian throws him into the frying pan, and Nick is just cooking on people left and right with these defenses. So, I mean, hopefully this leads to Christian doing something really desperate.
I fully hope so, or something leads to... We need to end this up because we need to get the fact that once Cope is back, we got to get that Edge and Christian reunion going, and we need to have either Cage being a tweener or something where he's got to figure something out.
And then go after FTR.
Yeah.
Anyways. Oh, yes. I love Thekla. I just feel really bad for Lady Frost, but this match also ruled.
They sacrificed her for no good reason. I mean, it could have been anyone else. They had so many other people.
I feel bad for you, Lady Frost, but you know what, girl? I'm happy to see you. Thekla's whole presentation is fantastic. In Thekla's debut, it's her versus Lady Frost. This is literally just to showcase all the stuff Thekla could do. Love her. Fantastic. She continues to choke out Lady Frost after the match. And then, of course, literally my queen comes down to save her. Because Queen Aminata, I accidentally changed the things. There we go. Queen Aminata comes out for the save. And so Thekla runs off, though. So we're going to talk about it in a little bit because what sets up for Summer Blockbuster has me excited.
I can't say much more than that. It's going to be a great match. Yeah. This is a great way to introduce her. Yeah, we're happy to see her.
Yes. I mean, literally, the next thing is Queen calling her out and asking for and telling her she's challenging her to a match at Summer Blockbuster. Yes, right. Queen, literally. Yes. I love Queen Aminata. I'm so happy that we're finally bringing her back on television more because she has been stuck in the ROH purgatory for a while. Moving on.
Yeah.
There we go. We get this announcement. Okada and Omega, winner take all match for those titles. It's not a unification, it's a winner take all.
Right. So not unification, but belt collector begins again. So one of the two is going to do. Honestly, I can't tell who's going to win this one.
I really can't either because I can make strong arguments for both. I mean, obviously, Kenny Omega, known as the belt collector in his previous incarnations within the last 3-4 years. During pandemic, that's what he was. He was the belt collector collecting all these belts. But I can also see them giving the international championship to Okada too, and Okada continuing to get one up on Kenny all the time. This is going to be a fantastic match. And when you put this with the other two matches that we got, despite my trepidation with Mercedes versus Tony, it's All In Texas Y'all In is actually shaping up to be really fun, and I can't wait.
I honestly can't. This is going to be so good. And I mean, they are a bit older. It's going to be a bit different, but I think they're going to work a different match. It's going to be fun. Will Okada work a more comedy style? That'll be interesting to see against Kenny because he's never done that before. So who knows?
Who knows? But I'm excited. This is going to be fun. I'm so sad I won't be here for the review for this, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Y'all, Adolfo's going to tag in for me, so y'all have fun with him. I'll make sure Adolfo watches too.
We will.
It's going to be good. Well, we get to the main event, which is the secondary members of the Don Callis family at this point, taking on Paragon and Daniel Garcia. I mean, this was a standard. It was okay. Like, I wasn't expecting like craziness. It was a very paint by numbers collision match where the wrestling was solid. And this was like the last 15 minutes of the show. I mean, we know where this is going. Daniel wants that championship back, and I would not be surprised if we don't get it anytime soon. I'm pretty sure we're getting the rematch at Y'all In.
Oh, 100%. That's definitely happening.
So, I mean, I have nothing else to say. So that is all that, and that brings us to the end of Fyter Fest. This was, despite the second half kind of lagging in certain parts, for the whole entire 4-hour show, and I could say this because I broke it up into chunks, this is a really good episode of AEW programming, not gonna lie.
It had its problems. I'm not going to say it was a great episode. It was definitely a good episode. It could have been so much better had there been more women's matches and segments. But in general, it was entertaining to watch as long as you could pace yourself. I feel like Summer Blockbuster is going to suffer from the same thing. I'm wondering how it's going to go tomorrow night, so we'll see.
We shall see. But speaking of Summer Blockbuster, let's preview this card that we got going on. So tomorrow evening, Wednesday, June 11th, this Summer Blockbuster, which is another 4-hour special where we are getting Dynamite and Collision all in one. And we got a pretty stacked lineup of matches. So we're going to go through them of what we have announced so far. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be like 7 other matches announced as we are on air with the Summer Blockbuster.
They got to fill 4 hours. I mean, come on.
I mean, that's very, very true. But in a match that was made towards the tail end of Fyter Fest, we are getting Thekla versus Queen Aminata. I'm excited for this match because these two girls, they both work a very heavier striker, Joshi, strong styles of wrestling. Cannot wait. This is going to be good.
And Queen working as a face, too. That's going to be fun.
I love Queen as a face. This is great. Again, I love how the graphics department, y'all get kudos because like these cards are amazing. I love it. It's like coming this summer. I love it so much. But in addition to Thekla versus Queen Aminata, we are also getting Kyle Fletcher versus Anthony Bowens. Again, I wish Anthony was getting something more of substance, but I think the match itself is going to be pretty good. I'm expecting both of them to do pretty good.
They're great workers. It's going to be a technically sound match. I just don't know if this is going to further anything or have fun with it. So we'll see.
Yeah, we will definitely see. I'm excited for this match. In the tag team match, we are getting Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford versus the reunited TJ of Ty Mello and Anna Jay. I'm excited. This is going to be good.
It's going to be interesting to see. I'm going to be holding my breath to see how Ty does in the ring. It's a good way to protect her in that respect because it's her first match back. But honestly, it's going to be fun no matter what. And I think it's going to be a Megan Bayne Penelope Ford win, and they end up pinning Anna again Ty gets like taken out somehow. So that's what I'm seeing for this.
Fair. I will say this is This is Ty's first match, at least on the US screens, because me and Adolfo got to see her beforehand when she teamed with Athena at the Stardom show at the beginning of the year too, and that was great too. I love it. It was crazy. But again, we also are getting Mystico returning to some AEW, and he's going to be in a match. Don't know who his opponent yet.
Somebody, and then MJF will be involved.
Yes. Really, this is here to set up what's going down at Grand Slam Mexico. So that is the thing. Yep. We're also getting this the trios match. Speaking of MJF, it is the Hurt Syndicate, which is Shelton, Bobby, and MJF taking on the team of Speedball, Commander, and Kevin Knight. I'm excited. This is going to be the boys flying around and the Hurt Syndicate throwing said boys around.
Yeah, and MJF being a little squirrely heel, hitting him with diamond rings and stuff. We'll see how that lands with Bobby and Shelton.
Yeah, because Bobby's not really liking the whole MJF shenanigan aspect to this dynamic. So it's going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah.
But in addition to this match, yes, ma'am, Timeless Tony Storm going one-on-one with Julia Hart. Again, Mercedes Moné on commentary. Julia has come such a long way. I'm excited, but I'm also a little hesitant.
I like everything about this match except for who's on commentary. Because again, Mercedes has not proven that she is reliable on commentary like Tony is, and I think that she's going to be judged against Tony for whatever she does. So it's
as long as there's no stake
involved, but it's not going to be fun.
No stake this time. But have tangerines though, because we know that Tony and tangerines and oranges go well together.
Oh yes, they definitely do. She loves to have them right in her tights.
It is crazy out here. We're also getting this match when I'm like, oh.
This is going to be match of the night overall.
Don't care. Fight me. This is going to be, I cannot wait for the second iteration between these two. The most hyped I am for this match. I'm so excited. I have nothing else to say. This is going to be a banger.
Well, we're close to Swerve's hometown too, so that'll be fun.
Yes, that is very true as well. And then finally, we are getting a contract signing between Kenny and Okada for their match at Y'all in Texas. Y'all know these two are going to brawl. It's going to be beautiful.
Someone's going through a table. That always happens. And I feel like whoever goes to the table is winning the match.
That is very, very true. But that is your preview for Summer Blockbuster, a 4-hour special event happening tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And that brings us to the end of the All Elite Ensemble review this week. Oh. Well then, okay. So apparently JBL has bamped himself out, or, he's lost internet. So we'll see what happens with all of that. Hopefully he pops back in here, but if not, I'm going to carry us through the end of the show. So I'd like to thank you for being here this evening. If you enjoyed our All Elite Ensemble review, we also got a plethora of other reviews coming out the remainder of this week. So I will just go over those briefly to let you know what's happening. Dude, what happened? You got excited and you bamped out.
I have no clue. I got so excited I just disappeared myself.
The ether was just like too much excitement. Bam. It is okay. So again, if you enjoyed our AEW review tonight, we have a full lineup this week, which is jam-packed with all kinds of stuff. Tomorrow evening on Wednesday, you get a double dose of reviews at separate times. At 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, the La Nextrema crew, the NXT PLE squad, will be getting together because we will be doing a double review of not only the June 10th episode of NXT, but we will also be covering the WWE and AAA Worlds Collide event that happened this past weekend for Money in the Bank. This was a lot of fun. I can't wait to talk about it. I was there live for both Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank. This was probably my favorite of the two events that I got to, but that's because it is literally mi gente, my peoples. Soy mexicano. It's beautiful. I love being Mexican and Puerto Rican. I say that because I'm about to talk about that towards the tail end of this preview week. But if the NXT and WWE feds are not up to your speed and you want something a little more crazier, then make sure to tune in at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern as Los Lobos de la Lucha are back once again to cover all the goodness that was this past Viernes Espectacular of CMLL. And literally, we are 2 weeks away from CMLL taking over the United States screens with AEW's involvement of Grand Slam Mexico. And it's going to be crazy to see AEW stars be popping into the legendary Arena Mexico, which is crazy. And more on that towards after this preview. But if that is still not up to your speed, and if you're a sick freak like the rest of us, then make sure to tune in Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, as myself, Andrew, and Adolfo of the Ultraviolet Union will be doing a double recap of GCW's Survival Weekend, which includes Tournament of Survival 10 and GCW Cage of Survival 4. This was a great event. It was bloody as all heck. We also got the return of Shotzi Blackheart in GCW, competing in in a death match. And we also got the GCW and death match debut of formerly AEW and ROH talent Bear Bronson, which we'll talk about that on Thursday. He's probably had my favorite match the whole entire 2 nights that we did these watch-alongs for. But tune in Thursday to hear about all the reviews of that, because it was a great time.
He had a better match in Mystery Wrestling, just saying.
Listen, it is okay. We want Bear Bronson to be blessed and booked, as I say. Like him and Shotzi are about to be booked all over the place, and I cannot wait. But on Friday, we are back with the Six-Sided Scholars as our TNA pay-per-view review squad will be reviewing TNA's Against All Odds, in which we got some really fun matches. We get the return of Santino into the wrestling ring, which was really cool to see and kind of made me teary-eyed a little bit after knowing that he's been struggling with, years and years of pain and things like that. And finally being able to come back into the ring was so beautiful to watch. And this was a fun event as well. So myself, Will, our newest friend JT, and a mystery fourth co-host who might be joining us, who knows, will be covering Against All Odds this Friday. Then on Saturday, there's not going to be a live review, but I'm going to have a bite-sized edited review to premiere all over the internet. As again, I mentioned that I am Mexicano, but I am also Boricua as well. So I am half Mexican, half Puerto Rican. And while worlds collided to satiated the Mexican part of my heritage, I will be doing a quick review of Mike Santana and House of Glory presents Puerto Rican Weekend, which saw the main event being Tomohiro Ishii versus Mike Santana for the Hog World Championship. There was a lot of talent that people might know. Deonna Purrazzo was involved in all of this. Some GCW folks like Marcus Mathers was there, but it was a full Puerto Rican like talent all involved, and it was Puerto Rico versus the world. I cannot wait to premiere that review for y'all to watch on Saturday. And then we wrap things up on Sunday with our Dual Dynasty review. We're back at it again with Raw and SmackDown. We are doing post Money in the Bank Raw and SmackDown. And as we are building up towards Night of Champions, which again, as stated last night, we will not be doing a live review because of where Night of Champions is taking place.
I don't watch those because no one will ever pay me enough money to watch things that are done with blood money. But good for you, CM Punk. Just saying.
Put him on blast. So before we sign off, though, I do have a major announcement to make, as we were mentioning throughout the review here. So as stated before, in 2 weeks, we will be reviewing Grand Slam Mexico, which is the CMLL and AEW crossover show, kind of similar to what they did with Grand Slam Australia, but we are getting actual CMLL talent and AEW talent going at each other. So the reason I bring this up is because we are having our own Grand Slam Mexico collision teams here, because it is going to be a packed screen in 2 weeks, because I am happy to announce that the All Elite Ensemble team will be partnering with the Los Lobos de la Lucha team, and it is going to be 5 individuals reviewing Grand Slam Mexico, as well as the CMLL versus AEW and ROH show that is happening the day before Grand Slam Mexico as well. So representing Team AEW is going to be Mr. Dalton Castorol, JVL, and the lovable but bald fraud himself, Professor, because I
He's
talked to him
actually going to
yesterday.
show up.
No, I told him lovingly that he doesn't have a choice. He has no choice. Like I told him, if you don't make Summer Blockbuster next week, that's fine. But Grand Slam Mexico, you kind of don't have the choice. Otherwise, he's not invited to the Quince anymore.
Ooh, ooh.
Listen, I was like, listen here, you ginger Mexican, you have no choice. You have to get here.
Yeah, well, his wife.
But that will be
anyway.
Yeah. So it's JVL and the Professor representing Team AEW, representing Team CMLL. It will be El Buntador del Segundo and the Papo Oso. And then I will be the Rocky Romero between the two promotions and being the intermediary bridge between the two. So I'm excited.
Heel turn coming so hardcore on us AEW folks. I feel like they're just gonna be.
So I'm excited. This is going to be a very big review. It's going to be 5 of us talking about each other, but I'm excited because it allows the teams and the people that don't usually get to work together a chance to work together for one night only. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm excited. Stay tuned for more information next week about what that entails and what the schedule looks like as we get closer to Grand Slam Mexico. But that's going to be it for us here at All Elite Ensemble. Me and JVL got to get up on out of here, and we're going to talk about some things too. But from all of us here at the AEW team, as well as the BC WrestlePod team, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will see you for tomorrow's reviews as well as the remainder of this week's reviews. But until then, sayonara, adios. Remember, take care of yourself, love yourself, take care of each other, especially in these trying times right now. And remember, you are important and you always have a home with us here at BC WrestlePod. So until then, we'll talk to you later. But this is myself and JVL signing off for the evening. Take care.